Major FB Live. I want to do this. Folks, it is insane where the Canadian government's going, where Mark Carney, with no parliament, no nothing, a team of really incompetent people in place, doing things arbitrarily, no parliamentary committee oversight, nothing. This is one guy who's playing a game publicly of elbows up, but meanwhile the elbows are tucked in firmly at the side. I put a link in this title. It goes through his big announcement yesterday, last night. I know everybody's messaging, calling. I need to go through things. I need to measure Chinese investments, our imports. I do all of that because it's all in the link of this title. You can read the very detailed Prime Minister of Canada website address in written format, very detailed, going into taking total 100% imports of steel, aluminum, gonna be copper too, that's coming. But him taking those accounts and saying anybody over that tally will be paying this tariff, even with a free trade agreement, except USA. And of course, China's one of them. I also put the link in the title of SEC. So many of you got it wrong. I deal with this almost constantly on a daily basis. These foolish Canada the Corporation people who just don't have a brain in their head. And this is why Canada's failing. And this is supposed to be people who are awakened. You're not. You're a foolish, gullible child. A childlike mentality. America runs the SEC, Security Exchange Commission. They've been doing this. Absolutely, even before that, but this change by Congress done in the Great Depression to monitor and watch all investments into the United States against those who are heavily invested against the national security of the United States. Well, who would that be? Every country in the world, folks. Every country in the world. No, we're not corporations. This is a very old system for America that measures your country and applies tariffs. They've been doing this since the 1700s. Post 1790, absolutely. It's not a new thing. It's a very old system of American protectionism for themselves, for we the people. Now, there's huge globalists who've got out there, been going this route. Yes, there's Democrats who've been pushing it, selling out the American people, the American financial system that again does what? Differently than everybody else in the world. I'll tell you, inflation goes with the lender, not the borrower, meaning Americans are off the hook. Canada's inflation right now is through the roof compared to America's. America's still got interest rates up here. Canada's are down here. I know people, you don't have to be an economist or a banker to understand that if America starts moving interest rates down, what are you going to do? What's that going to do to Canada and investment in Canada out, even though we've bled out so badly? I want you to understand something about steel, aluminum, copper. Canadians. How many second-class Canadian citizens, or hell, from the Crown first class, how many real Canadians, any Canadians, own our own steel, aluminum, copper, manufacturing, harvesting, and creation at any level, from very early primary to tertiary goods? How many Canadians actually own any of it? The answer is nearly nil. There's one operator. Aluminum off the table, folks. Aluminum, Canadians in aluminum, huh? What's that? Copper, we can go into a lot of it. We're not nowhere near going to be able to match what USA demands. And when you try to make everybody happy, when you play a game, I'm a globalist, I'm Mark Carney, I'm all of them, because it's all of them. These are the radical left Democrats, and then it's Canadians who are even worse off because their radicalized agenda on that, they've been capitulating to the UK, EU, China forever. In the link of this title, you have the Canada-China FIPA deal, where we gave monumental reins over China to invest in all of that. Now, those companies, lots of them European, heavily vested by China. Canada has an agreement with China. They've got 90% of our rare earth minerals and our metals. And you don't even get public disclosure because we don't have SEC. USA registers us under SEC. I even give you the link of the law that reinforced that in the 60s. I give you that. I think it's 292, SEC 292. You can go read that. That's an upgrade from the 1934. But, Canadians, they know better. It's a corporation called Canada. Oh, we're going to be the US. No. Every country in the world's registered that way. USA measures all of it. They're very diligent and very public for all Americans. This is not the way in Canada. No. None of you get anything. You don't know anything. We don't know anything. I can't even tell you how much Chinese investments are in metals. It's not publicly available. Mark Carney knows the China FIPA deals there. Did the Liberals sign and create that and craft that and bind that? No. And now they're moving away from it. But what does that do to us? Now, how do I come up with numbers? Well, just so you know, all I have to do is look at imports and exports per province, per territory. I can tell you the major imports from China against imports from USA in Canada, as USA can too. That's called SEC. That's what they do. Right down to a peanut, or a roll of copper wire, or an aluminum roll, or tin foil, or a steel bar. Each product, how much, all of it. You can go look province by province. I did that. Mark Carney has a system in place where we're obligated for many more years to come. All of those Chinese investments in Canada are insured by us. So sure, Mark Carney can say we're going to smash China. We're going to remove China from all these industries. But Canadians, you're going to have to pay for it. What I know in trade right now, province by province, as of 2024, all available to all of you. It's been there since July. I wasn't the only one to nail this. I don't like the Financial Post. I know it's a Crown institution, but they did write a story on this very thing. Bloomberg wrote the story. Financial Post did it too. When you try to pull up Financial Post, you can't get it, but you still get American Bloomberg's. And they tell you you can't use China as a bargaining chip with the United States, only at the great expense of all Canadians because of China FIPA. I give you all those. You can go all read it yourself. I've done detailed work on the China FIPA deal. I've tried to explain Security Exchange Commission too from the United States. Now, we're not a corporation. It's a tariff registering regime. And if you don't know, you don't own any of your own metal plants. I mean, one, but when we get across 3 different industries, you don't own any of them. And they're heavily invested from Europe, from China, from all of it. So you're going to cut them off? You're going to close them out? What's it going to do for Canadian jobs? And of course, Mark Carney's like, well, we estimate tens of thousands. We're going to give from the taxpayers. We're going to balloon all these social programs to have places for these people to go, and we're going to retrain them. I already know from Cole what retraining is. Not for you, idiot. Go find a new job somewhere else. Go learn a new area of your business, right? Because you're a lowly third-class subject wherever that takes you. And it's like, it's at the point, I know for me, everything, including my car I'm sitting in right now, my phone, I'm giving this address to you. If you took away everything not made in Canada or the USA, I would be naked except for this shirt. I'd have to pull it down to cover, and I'd be in bare feet. I'd look like a freak show downtown Toronto. That's where I'd be. This is the only thing I'm wearing it's made in America, because absolutely everything around me, including my lunch bag, all the items inside it, this car, a few other items, none of it was sourced in Canada. And if it was sourced in Canada, it was done through foreign investment and foreign-owned companies. Mark Carney is driving us to $500 billion debt. We don't have a budget. We have nothing but promises and changes with zero parliamentary oversight, zero commissions or boards created with experts specific to this. This is him and a handful of lunatics. People with no background in any of this. Sourcing from what? AI? Can you imagine? We pay billions of dollars into our budgets and our taxes, us, the Canadian people, and we have no good people running the country with no experience. We're in so much trouble, it's not even funny. I say, why Canada the 51st state? We wouldn't lose any of these systems or jobs or any of it. In fact, we'd be strengthened as Canada the 51st state. When you try to do what Mark Carney's doing, tell this group that, tell that group this, tell that country this, you're going to lose a whole bunch. All I see is GDP going like this, which means jobs going like this, and public demand of our services going way up here. That is boding very, very badly for Canada. And how people don't see this, I don't know what's wrong with you. Unless we have all Canadian companies, which we don't, and actual Canadians running things, which we don't, how are we ever going to grow some national security, national interest, national procurement? Where's that money going to come from? Because we certainly haven't procured any of that in the last 35 years. We have not. We have not. We've been going the other way. It's almost all foreign. So I don't know in our critical industries where the government thinks they're going to generate this. They're offering loans out to foreign businesses who, in his mind, this is what they're thinking, use China and Europe as a bargaining chip to try and get Trump to reduce our tariffs from 30% or 35% to 30% to match all of them. Carney even admits to all of you, there's no future with Canada without tariffs from the United States. And we're going to alienate all our other trading partners who are under tariffs to try and get our tariffs to 30% to match them. It's not going to happen. Not unless you do monumental constitutional changes, monumental legislation changes, that the earliest date it can be done, Canadians, which your average Canadian should know how this works. The earliest it can be done, I gave you a date, October 27th. 3 in Parliament, 3 in Senate, because you got to bounce it off. No different than the United States. USA sees all this. Do you think they think that, well, I guess they think the Canadians think Americans are stupid. They're not. They're highly advanced politically than we are. Way, way far beyond us. And it shows in the Canadian population in large swaths and volumes. It's not Canadians' fault. It's called proper civics training. A proper allies training from World War II that every country agreed to but did not achieve or even implement. Canada is one of the worst for it. And it shows the Canadian population. It shows you can blame a lot on immigration and the massive increase of new Canadians from a lot of third world or not really educated in the ally system world that Canada wanted in the plenty to keep you all dumbed down so the politicians could rape you blindly. And that is what's happening here. I can't even get all the numbers because there's not enough public. They just know it is. And all we have to do is look at our imports, what we import from what countries. And you can see all the steel, aluminum, copper, and you can see which companies are running that aren't Canadian in massive plenty. Like I said, all of aluminum, almost all of copper, almost all of steel. What is Mark Carney going to do except for put Canadians on the hook for the alienation and breach of other trading partners. Like I said, I didn't want the China FIPA deal. No Canadian did, at least then. Now you all do, and plenty, which makes no sense to me. And we're going to alienate USA, which we have done, and USA is calling us out for it and saying, make us happy, breach all your other agreements. Mark Carney goes, okay, I will. And then what happens when Trump still doesn't give you a deal? What are you going to do then? You better hope that Trump cancels all his 50% tariffs. You better hope that Trump reduces us from 35 to 30? Very, very pathetic. Coming at an astronomical cost to all Canadians. We are so done. It's like, the scenario where you've made all these agreements with 3 different neighbors. You're in a neighborhood. You've got the black family here. You've got the Asian family there. You've got the American family there. And you promised everybody you would lend out your lawnmower, and they're going to lend you a weed whacker, all of them. But then all of a sudden they all show up on the same day with the weed whacker. And of course you've given your lawnmower to China, and you're like, I got to take it away and give it to America first. And then they're going, no, but you signed this agreement that if you didn't, and here's my weed whacker, I'm giving it to you, but you have to cut my grass. Today's the day. And you're going, wow, sorry, I'm not going to do it, right? And it's going to rain all next week. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. You can't promise 3 different people the same thing when you can only deliver to one at a time. And that's the problem here. And we've signed agreements where we're on the hook for it, us Canadians. And like I said, in this scenario, this wouldn't happen if we were Canada the 51st state. If we were Canada the 51st state, we would all of a sudden have 3 lawnmowers, no problem. Welcome to being a State of the Union. Now you can go out. In fact, you could accumulate up to 10 lawnmowers. You can make deals with another 7 people, enriching your economy even more as a 51st state. Canada needs to come to terms with things, Canadians do, and people have to make the right decisions, because it's not with the Crown. It's not possible. It's always going to be broken. We're not even in a matching financial system, and that's going to eat us. It is eating us. We're in a lot of trouble. And again, you are, because you can't get a public source of how much Chinese investment is in these key industries. They know they're there, but they're not made public to any of you. What does that tell you? America, you can get all those answers. You can get all of them. That's what SEC does. That's my video. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Critical, crucial. Look at the link in the title. Look at your Prime Minister. More, it's up to you, because I've already went through this 100 million times. China, Canada, FIPA deal, and what you're on the hook for. Lots of media to tell you what you have to reciprocate to China if you violate that. Canadians, that's you. Mark Carney says, oh, well, it's just subjects. That's my video. Share, share, share. Get it out there. He certainly won't talk about that, even though he's already been myth busted many months ago. He's still doing it anyway, because he's an idiot.